You'll need some Allen wrenches, metric, preferably new and not busted. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, a 15mm box wrench, a Crescent wrench, or a pedal wrench. And finally, a click type torque wrench. For this bicycle reassembly, I'm going to be using a bike stand. You should find a safe place that's soft, like a big carpeted area, or maybe your backyard, so you don't mess up the bike if it falls down. When you get your bike, it's going to be in a box. This is a box. This is a bike in a box. First, so you might notice that your pile of parts is missing a saddle. That was shipped separately in the box from the frame. Next thing, we're going to insert the seat post into the seat tube. Torque down the seat post collar with your handy dandy wrench. Just get it snug. We'll finalize the torque later. If you have a bike stand that you're going to be working with, you're going to want to remove the wheel. Actually, you're going to want to remove the wheel that's zip tied to the frame anyways, because it doesn't go there. So I'm using handy dandy snips to remove the zip ties. Remember, some tools are sharp. Safety first, and always recycle. Now, we're gonna snip the zip ties holding the handlebars to the frame. With the handlebars free, we're gonna rotate them up and out of the way. It's okay for them to dangle, just be careful. Before we continue with assembly, we've got to remove the rest of the packaging. Remember, some of this is recyclable. So now that you have all the protective packaging material removed from the bike, the next thing we're going to do is make sure that our fork is oriented in the proper direction. If your fork looks like this, that's wrong. So go ahead and turn it around so it looks like this. So now your hunk of parts is starting to look sort of like a bike, but you need to attach your handlebars. In order to attach your handlebars, you need to remove the faceplate of the stem. Most bicycles, this will be a 4mm Allen wrench. You might find that yours is a 5mm Allen wrench. Remove the bolts, put them in a safe place. If you're cool like me, put them in your hoodie. Some bikes and some bars will have a gauge printed on the handlebar. You can use this to get the handlebar centered in the faceplate. When you're installing your bars to the stem, you want to be careful of the orientation of the cables and housing. It should look fairly clean when it goes on. Now we're going to go ahead and reinstall the bolts on the faceplate. Thread them in just a little bit until you get all of them started. Get it slightly snug, and we'll do a torque test in a minute. So as you're tightening the bolts on the faceplate of the stem, one thing you want to keep in mind is you want equal distance on the top and the bottom of the faceplate. While we're here, might as well put some pedals on this bad Larry. Be advised, there is a left and a right pedal. Some pedals it's going to be marked on the back with an L or an R. Some pedals just go slow. Your right pedal has normal threads. Your left pedal has reverse threads. So on the right pedal, we're going to turn it righty-tighty to get it to install into the crank. A fast way to do this is just back pedal. Once you've got your pedals threaded all the way into the crank set, you want to torque them down a tad. you can use an adjustable wrench or a 15mm open end wrench. It's looking pretty close to a bike, but we're missing a front wheel. If your bike came equipped with disc brakes, now would be a great time to remove the pad spacer. So, you may notice that on your wheel, there are some plastic protectors on the axle. We don't need these. Go ahead and take them and give them to your cat. So your bike is either going to be equipped with a through axle on the front or a quick release. In the case of a quick release, your quick release was shipped in the box separate from your wheel. Take the time to install it now. With the quick release in your left hand, pass it through the center of the axle on the left side of the wheel going to the right. If you have disc brakes, make sure the disc is on the left side as you look down. Place the centering spring on and screw on the end cap. Now we're going to put the wheel into the dropouts. Mindful that there is a disc and the disc has to fit into the caliper, place the axle into the dropouts of the fork. As you can see, I'm using my leg to apply pressure to keep the axle in the dropouts. If you're doing this in the yard or in your living room, just put it on the ground. Tighten the quick release. Testing to see if it's actually engaging. And what you're looking for is that when you get to right about here, it will hold the wheel in the dropout. When you got that, go ahead and tighten it all the way down. So if your bike was equipped with a through axle, you are going to line the rotor up with the caliper and place the wheel and the axle into the dropouts. Then you're going to slide the through axle in and you're going to torque it down. In this case, I'm using a 6mm Allen wrench with a RockShox axle. Okay, so you're almost done. One of the last steps that we're going to have to do is check essential torque on some of the bolts. Those bolts that we're going to check the torque on are the stem faceplate and the stem binder bolts. Before completely torquing down the faceplate bolts, ensure that the sweep and rise of the bars are appropriate, and center the stem and line it up with the front wheel. So we're going to torque the faceplate bolts and the binder bolts to 4 Newton meters. Go ahead and use your click tight torque wrench to ensure those are tight. Ta-da! You built a bike! Make sure that you put your sweet reflectors on there, throw some air in the tires, and make sure all those bolts are snug. Go out and ride, have a great time, and we love you.